Good evening, students. We will start the presentation. So in this presentation, we are going to see a title called as Authentication Techniques. So already you know this. Quickly, we will go a review on this. Okay. So just let me click on this one and drop this stuff. Okay. So look at this properly. The title is Authentication Techniques. So in authentication techniques, we have several techniques: password-based authentication, multi-factor authentication, biometric authentication, token-based authentication, certificate-based authentication, and SSO, hardware-based authentication, and risk-based authentication. So we have eight. We have eight techniques. So one by one, we will see. First of all, what is authentication? So authentication is nothing. The process of checking the correct user, the process of checking the correct user in the context of web. So usually what we will do, we will be having a web page. A web page contains username and password. So you will enter username as well as password also. So when you are entering username and password, this is considered as credentials, right? Your credentials. This credentials will check with the database once you enter username here and password here. The database, in the database, we will be having the information, which information, username and password we will be having. So this thing will be compared. If it is matched, then it will direct to the next page in your client side. So this is client, this is server. Okay. So the matching is happening. This is called data validation. Okay, this is called as validation. Okay, this is called data validation. For the system, we will call this as a validation, and we will call this as a authentication. So if you are given the right information in this, if you are giving the right information in this too, and this to write information, then you are the one authorized person to access the pages what we have in the website, right? So this is the thing happening in authentication, right? So we will see quickly. Let me rub this all this stuff. Okay. Now, what is authentication? Yeah, authentication is a process of checking the user information, users right information it is. Okay, right information. Okay, right information. So authentication is a crucial aspect of web security, ensuring that the users and the system accessing a resource who they claim to be. So various authentication techniques are used to secure web applications. Here some of the most common techniques. We will be having what password-based authentication. The first one is password-based authentication. What is password-based authentication? See, user provide username and password to gain access. Okay, can be strengthened using password hashing. Okay, this is normally we will use username and password. Just now we have seen one example, username and password. When you are giving username and password, it will be checking with the server. It will be checking with the server or the database. Then once if it is correct, then it will give access to you. That is nothing gaining a access. Strengthening used password hashing. Okay, here we have two techniques, that is bcrypt and organ 2. Okay, this is nothing. These are the algorithms we have implemented. The algorithms has been implemented to check the password is strengthened or not strengthened. So sometimes if you generate a password, you will be facing some statements like enter a strong password, enter a strong password, and your password is medium, your password is medium, and your password is poor. These all things you receive. So this information, who will check your password and who will provide when you are trying to sign up? when you're trying to sign up, you will provide this username and password for any website or any account when you are going to create. Who will check this? This will be checked with the hashing technique. In hashing techniques, we have weak and we have argon 2. Okay, and we have something called as salting. This is nothing. This is the techniques behind of this uh, behind of this credentials, which is going to check whether you are the right user or not. Okay. Next, vulnerable to brute force attack and credential stuffings and phishing. So this can be affected. Which one? Password-based authentication can be affected by using brute force attacks, credential stuffing, and phishing. How it is possible? First, we will see brute force attack. So brute force attack is nothing. When you are sometimes you might have experienced this also. You are when you are trying to log in your friend system or any of your family member system. Sometimes you might have tried with multiple passwords. So multiple passwords means you will be assuming some passwords that those things will be entering in that. You may have some hope that in that password, in whatever password you are entering, all possible things you will try, right? Maybe a date of birth, maybe a roll number, or maybe the date of birth, maybe the um, number plate number of the vehicle, anything it may be. So when you are assuming uh, random possibilities of passwords when you are trying it, that is called as what? Brute force attack. Okay, what is brute force attacks? So a person trying to open a system or open a page by using what? By using multiple passwords, which means all possible combination of passwords by assuming something. Coming to credential stuffing is nothing. We have software. By using that software, we can we can put some username and password, and those page will be circulated to the client. Okay, so consider this is the server. In this server, I have the page. Once you click on that page, this page will be going inside into your system. And when you're entering your username and password, those things will be filled in this, and it will be shown to the person who have made this page. Okay, this is one kind of stuffing. So credential stuffing means nothing. Some stuffs will be there inside. By using one application, we can create. Okay, by using one application, we can create. That is nothing. Open bullet. The application is nothing. Open bullet. By using this open bullet application, you can create the page by putting some stuffs in this. By putting that stuffs in this, the stuffs are nothing. It is a request, acknowledgement, a response. So in the request, you will be putting some uh, ID. ID means nothing. It's a link, and here also some link. Okay, which it directs to website, some other website or some other person. So this is called as what's credential stuffing. Next, phishing. Phishing means it is a fake page. So like username fake page, like use like Facebook login page, like that we can make one page that we can send to the client. So the client, what they will think that is a official web page. So once what official web page, so okay, we can log in at this. So once they log in, the username password will be taken and it will be given to the page who have made that. Okay, so these are the things we have in the password based authentication. Now, what are the possible things can attack in it? Those things we have seen. Okay, next, multi-factor authentication. Let me change the color. Multi-factor authentication. Let me remove this all stuffs. Okay, multi-factor authentication. In multi-factor authentication requires two or more authentication factors. Okay, this is nothing. So when you are trying to log in a system, when you're trying to log in a system, which means not a system, trying to log in a web page. Okay, the web page will be having what? Username and password. Okay, So when you enter username and password, that is going to cross-check with the web server or the database. Once it's cross-checked, it is going to give the response. Then you are going to proceed with the next page. Okay, that is okay. Here you see you got the response to the home page immediately after verifying username and password only. Okay, only. So this is called as what? 1FA. What is 1FA? 1FA means one factor authentication, because by having only one factor, here we have only one factor that is used to authenticate your what? Your web page. So that will be verified with the database, then it is going to give the response. This is 1FA. Next, we have 2FA. In 2FA means two-factor authentication. What is two-factor authentication? Two-factor is authentication is nothing. Here, here we are going to, let me remove this whole stuff. So two-factor authentication means previously what we have seen, username and password, right? Username and password we have seen. Okay. In username and password, by using that, you got a authorization to that particular page. Apart from this, sometimes you might have experienced when you are trying to log in through Google, after entering the password also, it will send some codes. It will send some codes. It will be like this. Let me remove this. It will send some codes, some numbers. It will be display like this. Three numbers will be displayed. And also in your mobile, you will get one number among this all, right? From this three, one number you will get here. So once you click this one, that will be get accessed here, and you can see the web page in this device. So this is the secondary device you are getting login. This is the primary device, right? To your registered mobile number device, it will send the code. So here you see you have to note on one thing. Here we have entered username and password, and the second step, this is the first step. In the second step, you have received one code. This is the second step. This is nothing. This is called as 1, 2. This is called as 2FA. This is called as what? 2FA, two-factor authentication. Okay, so if you have two-factor authentication, that is nothing. It is a MFA, multi-factor authentication. So multi-factor authentication means nothing. Verifying your credentials in two ways or more than two different ways. Okay, which means you by username password itself, that is one type. If it is sending code after the username password also, that is 2NF. After that, three also possible. That is nothing. You have to enter the captcha also. So in BNU website, you can see username and password you will enter. After that, it will ask captcha also. Okay, this is another way. So something like password, PIN, smartphone, security key, fingerprint, facial recognition. This all are comes under what? MFA, multi-factor authentication. So we'll move on. I hope you understood this one. Okay. Next, biometric authentication. In biometric authentication, we have fingerprints, facial recognition, retina or iris scans. So fingerprints commonly we know it receives the patterns of our thumb, and it is going to give the authorized to your device. Okay. Next, facial recognition, your dimension of the face. Your dimension of the face will be observed. So dimension of the face. Okay. Your forehead, your left and right position, and your jaw. Okay, this all things will be compared. This dimension, it will calculate. This is called as pattern. This is pattern recognition. Pattern recognition. So by using this, it will recognize your face and it will give what? Authentication. It will check the authentication and it can authorize to the concerned page. One thing you have to notice, even in this facial recognition, if you close your eyes, it will capture, it will give access to you. The reason is only the dimension can be calculated. Okay. Sometimes you see even you sleep, some people, some persons can take your phone and they can log in to your face recognition. Okay. Next, coming to retina or iris means, eyes, our eyes, human eyes, it is having a retina, and in the eyeball, black eyeball, we will be having some, not inside the black eyeball, outside of that, we will be having some nerves. So that nerves is constructed through blood cells. So those blood vessel or cell will be recorded in your device, the device which is going to uh, recognize your retina, the right person. It is going to pass one beam. That beam will be passed into the what? Retina. So let me highlight with the green color. So here we have the blood vessels. So this blood vessels will absorb this light emitted by this device. Okay, and it is going to make some changes in your eyes. So that changes only will be observed through this device. Then this device is going to give access. Okay, so retina or iris. Next, we will use this thing and all very less deployed one, very less deployed. Mostly we will not be in use in a regular life. Okay, this will be used in some army sections like militaries or air forces. They will use. We are not using it, so no need to worry. Coming to token-based authentication. So tokens, we have to talk about tokens here. We have to talk about session also. Okay. So when you talk about session, then only you will come to understand what is token. So what is session first? Session is nothing. It is a ID. Session is a ID for every transaction. For every transaction, we will be having session ID, right? So for example, GPay, if you are using, then you will be having a session ID. The reason why we need session ID at which time the user has been logged in, those details will be kept in what? Session. Okay. So this session ID is nothing. It will get activated once the user enter into the what? Consent page. For example, here this is the page. When you are entering into the page by username and password, that session ID will be generated. That session ID will be remains till you complete your transaction. This will not destroy. Actually, this will get destroy automatically once the session is over. The session can be closed by the user. Two possibilities are there. Session can be closed by the user. The session can be closed automatically within the side time bound what I've specified in the application itself. Right, two possibilities are there. So here you can close it, or the time bound of the particular session automatically it will close. The session ID remains where? In your transaction history. Transaction history, that is the best example, GPay. So instead of storing session data on the server, a token is used. In the context of token, instead of storing session data on the server, a token is used. So token will be generated by using JWT, that is JSON Web Token, OAuth 2.0, OpenID Connect. These are the protocols we have. Those are the protocols we have to generate the tokens. Okay. A self-contained token that includes user information used for third-party authentication, login with Google Form. Next, OIDC, that is OpenID Connect, extends OAuth 2.0 for authentication. So it reduces need of passwords in repeated authentication. So here, no need of password. So we can use very least passwords, which means the entering passwords multiple times, it will get reduced for what? Token-based authentication. Okay. Okay. Now we'll move on to certificate-based authentication. So certificate-based authentication already you have studied in network and communication. Network and communication. This is nothing. Certificate will be given by SSL protocol. and TLS protocol. A company has SSL and TLS protocol. Actually, when you make one website, that website, entire website, a website contains web pages. This entire website we can give to them, and by paying something, they will give some protection to your website, so no one can access it. So when you develop a website, so your HTTP will be like HTTP only. So when you are including the SSL and TLS protocols, this is nothing certificate. The certificate you are providing to your website. What certificate you are providing? You are providing this security to your website. So here S will be added. Okay, here S will be added once the website is secure. S stands for secure. Okay, so uses digital certificates. Here uses digital certificates X.509 issued by the certificate authority CA. So SSL and TLS will comes under this. Typically used in SSL protocols for mutual authentication. Found in enterprise environments, VPNs, and bank systems. So in bank system, you see client here, it will be server here, it will be. Okay. So bank, who is responsible to take this certificate? This certificate has to taken by the bank only. So the bank people, they have to apply for it and they have to secure it. Then only it will be secure. When it's coming to the client, it has to be secure. And when it is going back to the uh, bank server by updating something, then also it has to be what? Secure. HTTPS. Okay. Next, coming to single sign-on. So SSO, shortly we can call SSO, single sign-on, allows user to authenticate once and gain access to multiple applications. This is nothing. When we have Google, which means Gmail, okay, you will take Gmail, here Facebook, FB, and here we can take some other username, some other website like Orkut. Okay, you are not familiar about Orkut. It's like a FB only. Okay, so here the client is going to enter only once the password. Okay, okay, and here the SSO is going to help to the client to access Gmail, to access FB, to access Orkut also by entering only once the password. That is the statement says that allows the allows user to authenticate once and gain access to multiple applications. So multiple applications we have here. Authentication only once we are taking. Who is going to help? The SSO is going to help. SSO is nothing, single sign-on. So who is going to help in that? What are the protocols we have? We have SAML, Security Assertion Markup Language. It is a protocol. We have protocol. That protocol is going to help to the client to access multiple application by entering only once the password. Okay, and OAuth 2.0 and OpenID Connect. These are the protocols, famous protocols, will helpful for the client to access the multiple web pages, multiple applications by using SSO. Okay, SSO, what is expansion? Security Assertion Markup Language. So in this, what are the things we will be having? It is a uh, protocol which exchanges the XML document. You know very well what is XML. We will be having the data. Here we will be having the XML document which can be shared to the web applications, all the web applications about the what? Client. So the client information will be sharing with multiple web applications, multiple applications. So where we have this implementation, we have in this protocol. Which one? SAML. That is nothing. XML. In this we have XML only. Okay. That's why it says what reduces password fatigue, but can be a single point of failure, which means once you give the username and password, there are some possibilities we cannot use any one of the application also. Okay. Moving on to next one, hardware-based authentication. What is hardware-based authentication? See here, let me explain what hardware-based authentication. We have a processor called as in systems, processor called as cryptography processor. Okay, cryptography processor. What it will do? It will generate some keys. And that will be forward to the server. So from client it will generate and server it will reach. Okay. From the server it will generate to client it will reach. Best example you have studied about AND gate, OR gate, NOR gate, this all things. You remember, I think so. In that we have XOR, XNOR also, right? These two gates are responsible for encryption and decryption in both client side and the server side, encryption and decryption. So actually the story is a combination of application and hardware. Okay, so we have hardware wise also security, application wise also security. So on top we have seen many things. This all comes under what? Some of them are in hardware, some of them are in software. So for best example, see multi-factor. In that we have fingerprint. It's a combination of hardware and software. Face recognition, combination of hardware and software. In this hardware-based authentication, the cryptography processor, it is going to generate one key. That key will be passed to the server, and for the server side, we will be having cryptography processor that will be repeating here. Okay, so here security keys, it's a best example: YubiKey, Google Titan, and smart cards. Coming to last one, the risk-based authentication. Now, this is nothing. When you geographically, for example, if you are going to any other place, see here in India, so maximum we are staying in India only. When you are going to abroad, also this is possible. See in India map. Let me draw it. India map quickly. I don't know how it is going to look like. Okay, this is India map. Okay, maximum the location where you are. For example, Bangalore will choose this Andhra Pradesh. Here we have Karnataka. Maximum you are going to access the network in this area only. Okay, you are logging, you are doing in this area. Maximum you are staying here. Or any two purpose if you are going any other place in the North India somewhere. So when you're trying to log in this area, what happens? What happens when you're trying to log in this area? In such situation, this is considered as a risk based. This is considered as a risk actually. Okay, which means somewhere you are there and you are trying to access it. Okay, when you are trying to access it, for system it will not come to know where you system it will not come to know you are just for a trip and you are trying to access it from your mobile. If you are accessing, that is different case because already it is authorized, but you are trying from some other device from the some other location. That time risk is high because some other location some people also can accept, no. So here dynamically adjust authentication requirement based on the user behavior. This we have to note it down. So device, location, and risk level. So here MFA works. Multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication maximum it will be implemented when you are going somewhere geographically uh, throughout the India or throughout the globe. If a user logs in from or unused location, additional verification is required. This is nothing risk-based authentication. Okay, so now we have done with these topics. So what are the best practices we have to keep for authentication security? So you can use strong passwords like policies, like length password, complexity, expiration, which means you should not change the password continuously, but complexity we can go for. So uppercase we can use, lowercase we can use, mixing of uppercase, lowercase, and special symbols also at the rate of forward slash, backward slash, anything you can use to make the password complex. And multi-factor authentication, enforce multiple wherever possible. This is okay. implement secure token storage, and monitor and log authentication events, and finally use rate limiting and captcha. Actually, short introduction I'll give about the captcha. Captcha is nothing. Few people will not know what is captcha. Why we have? Actually, in a page, there will be a captcha. For what purpose we have captcha? The reason is some problems automatically, which means uh, some problems automatically will be solved by robots. Okay, robots means the system itself will do. Some operations should be done by the human. Okay, who human they can see the captcha and they can enter in this. So when we are in a page, the problem is some people are some web applications or some viruses will be trying to access your web page. In that situation, the captcha will avoid those things for security purpose. Captcha, it is only going to work by the human. Okay, by seeing that captcha, we are going to enter it. So the robot will not solve this problem. We have to solve. That's why we have the captcha. This is additional information. So thank you. We will see in next video.